Good evening, my name is Cynthia McKenna and this is Africa, and here we have the rare opportunity to look at Africa and say, wow, that's terrible, but we can at least laugh about it. Today we are starting our story in Somalia. Somalia is experiencing a presidential vacuum. What I mean is, the president has finished his term and there is no one to replace him. Usually what happens is the central government meets with the 5 federal states, they do some negotiations, and then the election happens, and then the swearing in of the new president. An easy process. But it's only easy when the first stage is completed. But this time round, they just couldn't communicate, negotiate.
Who's in charge in Somalia? The president's term has expired. Opposition groups won't recognize his authority. And no one knows when elections will take place. So, what happens if this political deadlock drags on?
Exactly. So, who is in charge? According to the opposition, it sure isn't President Mohamed Farmajo.
Well, after that time, after that 4 years, he is no longer legitimately the president.
No, there cannot be a vacuum. The federal parliament in both chambers have signed, voted for by a majority of 215 in the lower house and 40 senators to have a law that would allow for the parliament with its full authority to continue with its mandate and for all the institutions of the federal government to continue.
Wait. The government wants to run on its own? I want to be like UN and say,
it is not for the United Nations in any setting to anoint a government declared legitimate or not legitimate. There are institutions that are in place, that have been agreed to, that have been negotiated. We believe that Somali political leaders need to come together.
But a ship cannot run without a captain. A country needs a president to be the face of the country, to do other presidential things that presidents do, you know, the presidential stuff. Anyway, a country needs a president. And since the election date has passed and there's nothing we can do about that, then let's play the blame game.
Part of the blame or the faults lie not just with the federal government, but I think also the international community has a huge role to play.
The primacy of the law is usually with the Constitution. Constitution is clear, it's 4 years. You cannot, just pass a legislation or resolution and say that I have changed that. There is a modality for what they call amendments, and that hasn't been followed. So in my view, this whole business is a lack of, competency or capacity and will of the politicians mostly. And I blame the federal government simply because they have the bigger responsibility. They have been given this task.
Okay, that's enough of that. Now to the main matter. We've done the blame game. The date has already passed. There's nothing we can do about that. So what's next? The president of Somalia tweeted, I told you, Twitter is now the main form of communication among the presidents. And anyway, it was the Villa of State that tweeted, but it's so much more fun saying the president did a tweet. So, the president of Somalia tweeted that on the 15th of this month, he will be hosting a federal and state summit, which will be happening in Puntland. But Puntland said they want it to happen in Mogadishu because at least then the international community can be involved in the entire situation. You know what this is like? It's like those event planning WhatsApp groups, you know, where it's like Electoral Commission. Hey guys, it's time for elections again. And then the president goes like, so when is it happening? Electoral Commission. It should happen anytime before 8th. Any suggestions? Then the federal government comes like, I think we should have it in Jubaland. Then the Jubaland are like, no, I don't think we should have it here. Then later on, the Electoral Commission is like, okay, any suggestions? No response. No response until the 8th, where the president comes like, yeah, guys, I don't think I can make the 8th. Can we reschedule? That is literally how it went down. You can ask me. I was in the group. So, we now have a new chairman of the African Union.
And your excellencies, It has been a joy to serve alongside all of you during this period. And as I hand over to His Excellency, President Felix Tshisekedi, I hand over with joy, knowing that the work that I took over from President al-Sisi will indeed be continued under the leadership of President Tshisekedi.
Wait, President Tshisekedi, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the president whose parliament did this? How is he going to lead an entire country when his own seat is under threat from the former president? I mean, we can do better. What about the Central African Republic?
Panic in Bongi. Word quickly spread that rebels could be making their way to the capital. We were in the city center when suddenly everyone around us started running.
Okay, not the Central African Republic. You know what? We have a Nobel Prize winning president. What about Ethiopia? The president of Ethiopia?
3 opposition parties in Tigray, northern Ethiopia, accused the government of using hunger as a weapon and claim that more than 50,000 people have been killed in the months of fighting between federal troops and local forces in the region. It's still not clear what the estimate is based on. There have been no official death tolls since battling began in November, and communication links to Tigray remain patchy.
Okay, not Ethiopia. Tunisia. Tunisia never has problems. The president of Tunisia.
If you go to protests, you will die. If you go to school, you will die. There is always police repression, and yet we haven't seen their presence when there are murders, thefts, rape, and terrorism.
Our demands are that the politicians have mercy on this country. We're tired of their incompetence, of their lies and robberies. Leave Tunisia. We want this country to stand up again. We've had enough.
Clearly not Tunisia. Kenya. Straight from home, we as Kenyans can give out the next chairman of African Union.
Well, watch out. This did not go down well with his counterpart in the National Assembly, South Mugirango Member of Parliament, Sylvanus Osoro. Osoro lunged at Arati, attempting to grab the microphone from him, and all hell broke loose, forcing policemen to move in to calm the situation.
You know what? Never mind. Mr. President, please proceed.
To symbolically hand over the flag of our union to President Tshisekedi and wish him the very best as he takes on this task of leading our union. Congratulations, President Tshisekedi, and I now hand over the flag as well as the gavel to you as our new chairperson of the AU. Thank you very much. Here is the flag. Thank you.
Let's see what President Tshisekedi is going to do as he takes care of his own country and the entire continent. On a side note, President Cyril Ramaphosa did a great job last year, all things considered, and by all things I mean COVID considered. Speaking of South Africa, we need to check in how they're doing with their COVID-19 vaccine.
Well, South Africa has suspended its rollout of the Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine after a small clinical trial suggested that it offered only minimal protection against mild to moderate illness from the COVID variant that originated in the country.
No, that's the cheap one.
Your hold of the rollout of the AstraZeneca has a lot of people nervous because it could potentially, have wide-ranging consequences for other initiatives. Do you suggest that other countries should follow South Africa's example? Because, for example, this particular vaccine is a major component of the initial COVAX global vaccine rollout, which covers, about 150 countries around the world, mostly with lower and lower middle income economies.
Hey, I was going to ask that. Mr. Salim Karim, the co-chair of the COVID-19 committee in South Africa, what she asked.
Yeah, I think each country will have to make its own decision. Right now, South Africa is in a slightly different position because the 501Y.V2 variant, which is the variant that is able to escape immunity, constitutes about 80 to 90% of our circulating virus. So our situation is different. Our decisions should not really apply to other centers and other countries unless they also have a dominance of the same variant. So our decision is variant related. It's not related to the specifics of the vaccine. There are other challenges with the AstraZeneca vaccine, the availability of safety data in the elderly and so on. So those are issues that need to be resolved by regulators. From our point of view, we need to know the vaccine is efficacious in preventing people from getting severe illness, and that's what we're waiting for.
Well, that's good to know. For now, South Africa is distributing the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And his advice is great if you're not living in Tanzania, because just last year, this is what the president told his people.
The Ministry of Health should continue to clarify how inhaling steam helps to contain the coronavirus. If those viruses are in the nose or mouth, they will melt when the temperature reaches above 100 degrees centigrade. This is also an important thing.
Yes, the virus will melt away from your body. At least he created jobs for his people.
Safiri Mjema is making good money with a steam machine that he invented. He says people are coming to buy his product ever since President John Magufuli declared that steam works against the coronavirus. He says he now makes up to $200 a day.
Before in this clinic I was earning 70,000 to 100,000 shillings, but now I earn 500,000, and there is one day that I earned up to $1 million here. This is just the beginning.
No, it's steaming. It's steaming. Yeah, and then you write there on top, you write, verified by the president of Tanzania. We're going to make... Okay, just 1 minute. Hold on. Meanwhile, in Ghana, the parliament has been suspended.
I have, in consultation with leadership, decided that the sitting of the House be suspended for 3 weeks.
Now, they didn't just do this because they wanted a day off. 17 members of parliament and 151 staff members have been affected by the virus. Now they have to work from home and have some self-isolation. Maybe then they can learn how to use Twitter. On to Twitter check. On Twitter, we have hashtag Sabina Chege and hashtag Sabina the Lioness, which is trending. The woman representative of Muranga County is being praised by many for her insight during the JKL show that aired last night. It's good to see a woman being praised for more than just her looks. Hashtag Tangawizi Con Game is also trending, a hashtag dedicated to putting on blast corrupt leaders. Brace yourself if you're ever going to check that out. On Out of Time, it looks like Ebola is tired of being sidelined as COVID-19 takes all the attention. So Ebola is making a comeback. A woman in the Democratic Republic of Congo was found to have the virus. She unfortunately did succumb to it. And I am hoping to God that this is the only case we have in the continent, because you and I know our continent can only take one deadly virus at a time. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister of Sudan announced his new cabinet, which is inclusive. It has 20 new cabinet members and 6 of the old cabinet members. You know, he really should get into this whole Twitter fashion. Maybe he can tweet the next Minister of Education, because that's the only position that is left unfilled. Now, I know here in This is Africa, we like to make fun of President Magufuli. And to all his supporters, we want to say, we are sorry. But the president did do something extraordinary as a president in Africa. He told his supporters that he won't be going longer than the 2 terms stated in the Constitution. And that, to me, makes one great African leader. That's it from me. My name is Cynthia McKenna. This is Africa. See you next week, same time, same day on This is the Day. Yeah, hello? $200,000, imagine. Hey, we're going to be rich. Steaming, Pepe, steaming.